Hey, fantastic question, and thanks for reaching out. Um, just for what it's worth, these are kind of the strategies that I would approach that question with, but let's keep the conversation going because there could be more to it. There might be other nuance and things like that to look at. So, first thing that I always do, just because I love the tool so much, if we're looking for the history of a phrase or a word, I go to something called Google Ngrams. Have you ever heard of it? Google Ngrams is, so way back like 20 years ago, Google, with all of their money, scanned all the books in University of Michigan, Berkeley, a few from the University of Utah, and got like a complete run of academic libraries. Maybe they did like Harvard and Johns Hopkins, but it's pretty good. So if you type in something, let me show you another example. Ngram. If you type in a single word, what it'll do is look in the full text of all those books. And I don't know how it deals with like the industrial era, all of a sudden having like way more books because the printing was cheaper than before movable type in the 1400s, but I'll let you deal with that. But what you can do is you can see, okay, psychology had like a big bump in, is that a histogram in the 1920s? And then you and I probably know that that comes out of like World War I soldiers, and they're looking for ways of reintegrating them in societies, in Western societies in particular. Most of these books are English, I can imagine. So what we can do is you can put any words in there. You don't have to put it in quotes, which isn't intuitive for me, but if you want to put in like a phrase, like pathological demand avoidance, you can see there's this little bump down in 1987. Like, ooh. So what we could do is we can gauge that this is kind of where we're going. But the interesting thing is it doesn't really take off until the internet takes off. What does that mean? That's probably beyond the scope of today's meeting. But you can see it really starts taking off and just going and going and going. So how do we look up history of that? One thing we looked at was Google Scholar. When we looked up the article in Google Scholar, and you can view the things that it cited. But I wanted to introduce to you how AI is being used in social work in particular today. And what I'm doing is I've been reviewing student feedback, this especially in January and early February, and I'm changing a class. So for like a social work 6110, I'm changing my rhetoric, and this is what I'm going to be talking about. So this is kind of happening right now. So what we've got in the real world is we've got AI, and people are throwing these big models out there, and they're saying, look up stuff and do and discover and do all this stuff. And it feels like overwhelming because there's people that are gloom and doom about AI. What it's turning into is something that you can, you have a very specialized body of literature that the AI is trained on, and then you can find it. So that's happening right now. So in the coming year or 2 or 5, depending on who you ask, there'll probably be an academic AI of value. There's some that are out right now that are kind of like, I don't know. But what you can do is know that it will give you kind of reasonable answers. None of these are evidence-based because we don't know where they're grabbing it from. But this can give you some search terms to look at. So first of all, according to AI, whatever they're citing, they give us a name. So we can look up the author, and we can see that they're interested in autism. And is that the angle that we're looking for? Has the research right now expanded into that? So I would encourage you to go to AI and ask it specific questions. So who coined the term? Or you could say, what is pathological demand avoidance, and does it usually apply to children or autism populations? You can use all the words, the technical jargon from social work, and you can ask it clarifying questions. And this might give you those different ways of looking at it. So it's not in the DSM. But, neurodivergent, it's a big way. So, oh, there's another name for it, pervasive drive for autonomy. I think I've got that. That's, sorry, I'm going through my review and I'm being kind of like hard on myself. Um, There's like all sorts of stuff going on. It doesn't really tell us anything, but you can cruise through and get keyword ideas. So the keyword ideas, what do we do with that? In Google Scholar, we also have the equivalent here in the library called Scopus, or Web of Science, which I am happy to do searches for you. But they're similar to Google Scholar. So first of all, I'm going to look for the author. First author, and I have to reverse it. Newson Elizabeth, and it might be Newson E. Oh, it took out my comma. We could also add. We can also add keywords. And we start to see A. Newson, E. Newson. And we can see their full profile and see their articles that they've written. And we can see who cited them and things like that. So there's a whole mess of stuff like this that I can do. But what's that one article that they talked about? Let's sort her articles, assuming they're a her, sorry. Pathological avoidance syndrome. So this was published in 2003. So AI, one that I looked at earlier, said that this author republished it at this time. But you can see prevalence of things that happened before. So what I can do is I can generate lists of things like this for you. What I'll do is I'll send this one in a PDF form so you can see what these are. But let me show you another one. Whoops, let's go back and grab this. I'll send you this list too. I'll go to Scopus again. And on this one, I'll look for the term itself. And then, so there's only 64. Isn't that interesting? So I'll send you this list. Hey, there's our person, and there's the article that we found. I'll send you this list, and you can also be cognizant of the dates. But what you can do is if you find something where you're just like, oh, that's really interesting, what you can do is grab this article title and just go to Google Scholar, or you can just go to the open web and see. Typically, you'll be able to see the abstracts and things like that. And so if you run into something, I have full text access because I'm on campus. But if you run into anything, send me citations and I'm happy to help. So I'll send you this one. And another one is, let's see what this article, where this one shows up. So I'm going to send you 3 lists. One, Elizabeth Newson's stuff. Another one, everything with pathological demand avoidance. Actually, let's make sure it's just in the abstract so you don't have a list that's overly big. So we know that it's like the main part. And then the last list I will do is show you, so I sent you the full text of the article. What I'll do next is make another list for you that has the title of the article that you found. And this doesn't tell us very much, does it? Hey, check it out. Did I get the right one? I didn't get the right one. You sent me a different article. Sorry. Pathological demand. Oh, this is by the author. Well, shut my mouth. Well, maybe I don't have to look up that article. But what you could do, I'll send you the list of things that this author cited in the order of impact. So this article from 2003 generated these child articles. Okay. That's a lot of information. As you run stuck, or if you have any other research strings you want me to look up, or articles, just let me know. And you don't have to tell me who you are or anything. Just say, hey Dale, please send me this. I do that like, I think 2,000 times a year. So I'm not, so feel free to de-identify.